it warms my heart, Ed, to know that the No Kings protest outnumbered the crowd for that parade. Probably what? 20-1?
Welcome to The Cauldron, a podcast hosted by Ed Bolden-Greer and Jacob A. Garner. In each episode, Ed and Jacob will have free-flowing conversations about life, culture, and personal growth. Expect to hear from storytellers, authors, experts, life gurus, thought leaders, and influencers. The Cauldron is a place where concoctions of a lot of ideas are brewed down to potions that are sometimes important and useful, sometimes eccentric and bizarre, but always just what you need. The Cauldron podcast may contain explicit language and thematic elements not suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
No thought too dumb.
No question too deep.
The conversation starts here. Welcome to The Cauldron.
Well, hey there, family. Jacob and I are supposed to be on hiatus, taking a little break after the season finale, but we were doing some planning and some strategizing, and we decided we needed to come in and talk about the No King protests that happened this past weekend before it leaves the media.
Yeah, because you know how the media cycle works, and by a week or two from now, people are probably... You're not going to see as much about it anymore.
And y'all are going to be tired of hearing about it, and we've got a bunch to say about it. So
it's so significant that I think that it's important that we at least talk about it on record.
I agree. So before we get started, man, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. But it really did warm my heart to see how successful. I think you can mark it as a success that the No King's Day protest really brought out, don't you?
Absolutely. I'm not going to make fun of you for not going. You were doing something. You were doing one of your life goals.
Yeah.
This year. You want to talk about that?
Sure, man. Yeah. So luckily, my twin was able to go to a protest.
The better twin.
The better half.
Protest.
Yeah. Obviously, why he has more photos than me, but. I was actively completing kind of like a, what do you call it? Like a New Year's resolution, kind of life goal.
Checking it off your bucket list.
Bucket list. Yeah, there you go. I had made it up in my mind that I wanted to compete at least one more time before I turned 30, which is...
It's no longer a downhill. Like you're at the last before it plateaus.
Yeah, I'm in a free fall.
You're in a free fall. You're about to, the wheels are going to come off the truck and you're going to skid into the valley.
Yeah, that's where I feel.
The valley of death.
The valley of death. It's only downhill from here. But I was able to actually compete, and
so I'm going to chime in here. Okay. So he was able to compete, and he did very well in one of his rounds.
Yes.
In the second round, what was it that the staff was talking about? I can't remember what they compared your beating to.
It was a lot like that scene in the Avengers where...
Oh, yeah. Where the Hulk...
Yes. grabs Loki, and just ragdolls him.
Yeah, just so there was a moment in the fight, if you could call it a fight in this case, because this guy was a Hulk.
Yeah,
like he was 2 feet taller than you,
just about. It felt like,
and had muscles on his muscles.
Yeah, he was jacked. And he virtually, Jacob backpacked him. Yeah.
Got on his back, was just like backpacking him. And Jacob couldn't get his legs around the guy.
I couldn't.
That's how big this guy was.
I had my arms wrapped around his neck because even though he was way bigger than me, I was a little bit faster than him. So I scrambled behind him and jumped up and grabbed his neck to try to apply a choke. Could not get my legs wrapped around him, so I was effectively hanging off the back of this grown man like I was a cape.
Yep. And the guy reaches over his shoulder with one hand and then takes the other hand and puts around Jacob's neck and then just tosses him.
Yeah.
Just like flips him
yeah.
into a wall.
Into a wall.
A matted wall.
A matted
he didn't
wall.
break.
No. But it was like that scene in Joe Dirt where he gets thrown in a fight and he says, luckily, my neck broke my fall. It was
quite true. So we've been working on putting Jacob back together again.
Yeah.
Humpty Dumpty.
But hey, mark it off the list. We did it.
And you know what? We have that to celebrate.
Mm-hmm.
We also are, for the very first time, recording from the brand new G-Spot.
Yes, indeed we are.
That Jacob had problems finding.
Shocker that I had a hard time finding the new G-Spot.
You said shocker and hard time in relation to the G-Spot. You are so nasty, man.
Well, to be fair, there was an almost identical silver Kia in the parking lot. And I've only been here twice now.
3 times.
3 times. So I parked next to that Kia thinking it was yours and then attempted to walk in to a door that was locked. And then I texted you like, dude, let me in. And then I was like, oh, wait, it's like 3 doors down. So.
Yeah. I was already walking to the door. I thought, oh, it's locked somehow because we're not used to all the security that we have here and everything.
Yeah.
Well, we're going away.
Yeah.
Well, let me rephrase that. That sounded really bad. Jared and I are leaving town this weekend. Well, for the week, basically. We leave tomorrow morning. By the way, for everybody, it's Tuesday, June 17th.
Mm-hmm.
And this will probably not come out for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But we wanted to go ahead and record it for posterity.
Mm. Well, it's still fresh on our minds.
What's fresh on our minds, and before you all get tired of hearing about it.
Yeah.
But we're going to a wedding, and we'll be leaving Wednesday, tomorrow morning, heading up to South Carolina to Lake Lure.
Mm.
And we'll be back Sunday or Monday. We're not quite sure. The family has rented a lake house there, and it's through Monday, but we're not sure when we're going to head back. So we're trying to get all this stuff out of the way so that we can go and not have to worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just couldn't not record this episode before then.
No.
Because I don't want to go thinking about all this crap.
Yeah, leave it here in Tennessee.
Yeah, going to leave it here in Tennessee. I just want to, we'll start talking about it because I want to just make it known that America has always had, from its inception.
Oh, yeah.
From its inception, the American colonies, they were under British rule. They were experiencing unfair taxation and governance.
Mm-hmm.
We'll just reference the Stamp Act of 1765 and the Tea Act of 1777, which led to the Boston Tea Party.
We record that Boston Tea Party bit.
Yeah, the Boston Tea Party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting. It kind of relevant. I recently was listening to a really awesome interview with Ken Burns.
Yeah.
The famous documentarian, released fantastic work. I've rewatched all of his documentaries, but he was actually talking about the Boston Tea Party, and he brought up something that I've never really considered. Okay. Do you know why those protesters dressed as Native Americans before they carried it out?
Nah.
Okay, so the common thought process, at least what I was even taught in school, was that they dressed up as Native Americans to disguise themselves, right?
Yeah.
Well, Ken Burns brought it up. He said that's completely false. It doesn't make any sense. Why would Native Americans throw tons of tea into the harbor? The British were not taxing the Native Americans. Mm-hmm. They didn't have to pay stamp taxes or sugar taxes. He believes that the protesters that did it dressed up as Native Americans as a symbolic gesture. And the symbolic gesture was, we are the indigenous people here, and we are divorcing ourselves from England. It was a statement which as poignant as it is, extremely ironic considering how we ended up treating the Native Americans later on. But I never noticed that until Ken Burns said it.
I think that he might have something there. I think that, first of all, it wasn't all of the protesters that dressed up like Native Americans.
It wasn't?
No, I don't think so. Regardless, the fact that led to the Continental Congress and creating our Constitution and everything, it was based on a concept of the United States would not have a king.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what this protest this past weekend was all about, not having a king.
Yeah.
And as we know, there's the perception of Trump as a king by the MAGA supporters, by the ultra MAGA supporters. And some people call it the cult of personality.
He definitely has one.
Yeah.
I do think that there is a parallel between Ken Burns' interpretation of the Boston Tea Party and what we saw over the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. I will go a little step farther and say that since we have to talk about MAGA in regards to this, that the phrase "Make America Great Again," it originally was perceived as, let's clean up some of the stuff that's going on, like, big government.
Because Reagan actually coined "Make America Great" back in the 80s.
And so "Make America Great Again" is most people today are interpreting it as a call to restore a perceived past glory, right? Invoking images of powerful leaders. And I don't think that we've lost that. I will say that that birthday parade, the military parade that coincided, the reason that they chose that weekend to do it, which coincided with Dumpy Trump's birthday, was the parade itself was a disaster.
Yeah. Did you look at the clips?
I did.
It's pretty interesting.
It was. The fact that between $40 to $60 million was paid to have that parade, and let's face it, it was all an ego stroking thing for him.
And they're claiming now, in order to try to take some of the heat off of it, that it was for the 250th anniversary of the Army that took place, which, here's the thing. I have a lot of friends that are active military members.
I'm going to interrupt you. What the military doesn't need is $40 to $60 million being spent on a parade. What the military needs is better aftercare.
Yeah.
That $40 to $60 million could have been used to improve the care provided by the VA.
Yeah.
Instead of cutting VA.
Yeah.
So it enrages me. My married family were all military, and it enrages me. And I don't know if that's where you were going, but I had to get that in there. $40 to $60 million on a parade. Fuck you. We have veterans who can't access quality health care because the programs have been cut so much. So
it's a classic example of the MAGA movement speaking out of both sides of their mouth, where they go, we want to venerate, honor our heroes and our military service people. And then on the other side of their mouth going, yeah, but let's cut everything for them.
And I don't think anybody can take Donald Trump serious when he's praising the military, because he's called them losers so many times.
Suckers and losers.
Suckers and losers.
Well, and where I was going is that I have a bunch of friends that are still active military, one of which I'm going to his wedding on July the 14th. But I asked him and a couple of my other friends, and Zach, obviously, he's a veteran. And I said, what do you guys do in the military? Like, how do you guys feel about these sort of parades? And he said, we all hate them. And we especially hate them when it's for pomp and circumstance.
Mm-hmm.
If you watched a lot of the footage of the military members in their uniforms, specifically, I thought it was interesting that they were in combat fatigues, but whatever. You'll notice that they really didn't try that hard to be in lockstep and, their coordination and everything. They were just going through the motions.
They weren't doing their chants. They were just silent. They didn't want to be there. Because ultimately, we already know that the military is sworn to uphold the Constitution. They are not sworn to be the servants of a president.
No.
Or to the Congress.
Mm-mm. And I will say this much, too, just from a quiet observer looking at it. How fucking stupid of a parade was that? I mean, let's just look at what the main focus of a military parade that we have seen historically, right? It's usually in countries like North Korea, China, and Russia, where they are just beating their chest and rattling their saber to say, look at all of the toys that we have, how strong we are, right? Everybody in the world already knows how powerful the U.S. military is. It is near mythical in its ability to carry out actions all over the globe. And by bringing out some of these really mothballed tanks and having people march and disorganization, I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me. It was really, and I want to get very clear, Ed, I'm not saying, oh, the soldiers were lazy and they weren't lockstep, we look sloppy. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm saying is you could tell that they didn't even care.
They didn't have any energy to give to it. I think the iconic the iconic clip that we see of the tanks and the squeaking of the bogies on the tanks actually being louder than the crowds were or anything else is just iconic to how bad the situation was. I will also say that they expected 200,000 people, and they got about 80 to 100,000 people. That's 120,000 fewer than you projected. Is horrible.
It really warms my heart, Ed, to know that the No Kings protest outnumbered the crowd for that parade. Probably 20-1?
Well, I just read an article this morning that said that, if you have 3.5% of the population of a country where a dictator rules, that dictator will fall.
Mm-hmm.
And we had 3.8% people protesting the No King thing.
And I will say, big shout out to my twin, Zach. He actually went to a protest in the Loudon. Because the courthouse was the main protest spot, right?
I was so very proud of Knoxville and the surrounding areas. Think about it this way. Knoxville led the state in protesters, yeah. And that's not including the Loudon and our outliers that had hundreds of people there, right? We had 7,500 people in Knoxville, all along the Henley Street area and all that. It was breathtaking.
Some of the signs were so funny.
They were. I sent video to my friends around the country, and they were like, wow.
And I think it's very indicative of the crowd that Zach observed in Loudon, right? Because in Knoxville, it was an eclectic mix, but it leaned more towards the younger people, for sure. But in Loudon, that's a retirement city, Also, I will point out, Loudon, according to the local news that I was watching with my grandma last Thursday, is the third fastest growing county in Tennessee, which is nuts. But Zach estimated out of the 180, 200 plus people that were in attendance at that protest, he said more than half of them were over the age of 50.
Oh, absolutely.
And it really shows you just how pissed off across the board a lot of people are about this. And I really liked Zach's sign. Did you see what Zach's sign said? It said, if there's money for a parade, there's money for Medicaid.
Absolutely.
And I mean, just overall, it was very odd that they were like, the sponsorships were one of the strangest things. The fact that we had a military parade that had sponsors by fucking Coinbase, a cryptocurrency exchange, and the UFC. What?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's just so
So
weird.
stupid.
Are we going to start putting like sponsorship patches on our uniforms now? So stupid. There was also this really funny thing where there was a soldier that was in the parade, and he was just like lackadaisically holding up one of the drones, like the quadcopters. It was literally like this, like just trudging along. I was like, oh my God. And they had this weird ass music choice where it was like AC/DC, Guns N' Roses, but it was with no lyrics. It was just the instrumentals. It was like being at a karaoke bar without a singer. Did you notice? It was so fucking weird. Okay, family, we're going to take a quick break and we're going to let Madam V give you some helpful advice with her horoscopes.
Well, hey there, family. It's me, Madam V, and welcome to my little segment of the Cauldron called Horoscopes with Madam V. That's HORRORSCOPES. When the stars whisper their secrets to me, I pass them on to you. So light your candles, grab a strong drink, and prepare to learn what the fates have in store for you. Well, hey Aries, you little psychos, you. This July, prepare for an unexpected encounter with a dancing raccoon in your backyard. This little critter will inspire you to join in the fun and leading you to a spontaneous neighborhood flash mob. Don't be surprised if you end up the unlikely leader of a furry dance revolution. Hey Taurus, you big raging bull, you. Get ready. This month you'll discover a hidden stash of vintage board games in your attic, each with a bizarre and hilarious set of rules. Organizing a game night will lead you to unexpected alliances and ridiculous arguments over the silliest rules. Embrace the chaos. Gemini, you unpredictable little two-face you. This July, you will find yourself in a peculiar situation where you accidentally become the spokesperson for a local pickle festival. Your witty charm will have everyone clamoring over your opinions of all things pickled. Just remember to practice your pickle puns. Soft and sweet Cancers. This month, you'll stumble upon a peculiar trend. Everyone in your friend group decides to adopt an inflatable flamingo as their emotional support companion. Expect a hilarious gathering where each flamingo is dressed up in your own quirky outfit, leading to a flamingo parade in your neighborhood. To my feisty little Leos, hi Jacob. July will bring you an unexpected challenge. You'll find yourself in a fierce competition to create the most outlandish ice cream flavor. Think spicy pickle marshmallow swirl or chocolate covered bacon explosion. Your creativity will astonish everyone, and you might even start a new trend. Oh, you fun-sucking Virgos. This month, your analytical side will be put to the test when you accidentally join a secret society of sock puppeteers. Expect to spend your weekends crafting elaborate puppet shows, complete with dramatic plots and unexpected plot twists. Your meticulous nature will make you the star of the trope. Oh, my indecisive little Libras. Get ready for a bizarre twist to this July. You find yourself entangled in a heated debate over which fictional characters would win a dance-off. Expect to host a lively debate night, complete with elaborate presentations and dance-offs to prove your point. May the best dancer win. Oh, my soul-stabbing Scorpios. This month, Prepare for the arrival of a mysterious package containing a life-size cardboard cutout of a celebrity that you've never liked. Instead of tossing it, you'll decide to take it on wild adventures around town, creating hilarious social media posts to catch everyone's attention. Sagittarius, the perfect little terrorist. Adventure awaits you. This July, you will accidentally sign up for an extreme croquet tournament, which involves bizarre obstacles like inflatable unicorns and giant rubber chickens. Embrace the absurdity. And don't be afraid to flaunt your outrageous croquet skills. After all, you are perfect. Oh, to the most stubbornest of Capricorns, get ready for an unusual twist to your routine. You'll discover a hidden talent for making elaborate balloon animals, leading you to become the unexpected life of the party. Prepare for requests for balloon versions of everything from dinosaurs to entire cities. My free-spirited Aquarius. This month, you'll find yourself swept up into a local trend of reverse karaoke, where people sing while wearing blindfolds. Your offbeat style will shine as you unleash your inner rock star, creating unforgettable moments that leave everyone in stitches. Creative crybaby Pisces. July will be your month of whimsical surprises. You'll stumble upon a mysterious book of spells at a thrift shop and decide to experiment with them. Expect hilarious, unpredictable outcomes, like turning your cat into a temporary dance partner or causing your plants to sing. Feed me, Seymour. Well, that's it for this month, family. I'll see you in the stars.
Madam V may peer into the cosmic abyss, but let's be clear, she's no certified astrologer. Her horoscopes are infused with mystery, sarcasm, and maybe a pinch of naughty chaos, but they are in no way based on credible astrological science. Should you follow her predictions to the letter?
Absolutely not.
Take them with a knowing smirk, a dramatic gasp, and perhaps protective charm for good measure, but not as actual life advice, unless you want to.
I wanted to kind of double back on something and just talk about numbers for a minute.
Okay, let's do it.
In Tennessee, we had about 50,000 protesters across the state.
Wow.
7,500 people in Knoxville, 2,000 in Nashville, 1,000 in Memphis at the last count, 900 in Chattanooga, and the rest were made up from smaller towns.
Yeah, like the Loudon.
Like the Loudon. So 50,000 in total. It was a national protest, 26,000 locations across the United States and all 50 states.
Wow.
So I can't say enough how proud I was. And I've been to a lot of protests, and I've been on the front lines. This one I was not.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say that there are some statistics out there that I thought were very, very telling. I'm going to correct myself here in just a second. I said 50,000. It was 40,000.
Okay.
I was just doing it off the cuff. But Washington State, 75,000. I'm not going to read all these, obviously. Texas, 80,000 people.
In Texas?
Mm-hmm. Ohio, 100,000 plus. Oregon, 55,000. Pennsylvania, 70,000. These are swing states.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we go up to like California.
Oh, yeah.
200,000.
Yeah, LA.
Florida, 150,000.
In Florida? What the fuck?
Yep. Illinois, 90,000.
It cracks me up that in Ohio, the home state of the VP, there's 100K people. Like,
well, there's rumors they're trying to get rid of the VP.
Really?
Yeah, they're trying to eliminate him. The
sure,
administration is. Sure. And there's lots of reasons why that probably would be. But I just wanted to point out Tennessee with 40,000. That was 64.2% attendance. Not of the whole state.
No, yeah,
right?
Yeah. And it was hot that day too.
Yeah, it was a muggy day, and it kind of kind of gave me so much hope,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I'm not a politician. I don't want to be a politician. My father was a politician. I've had to interact with state legislature. I'm glad I don't have to do that as much now.
Mm-hmm.
But what I will say is that Governor Newsom in California
Yeah.
and Pete Buttigieg
Yeah.
have been all over the media.
Oh, yeah.
Not only have they been all over the media, but they are the front runners for the next election for president. Pete being vice presidential candidate. What a ticket.
Yeah. It's a pretty strong ticket.
Yeah.
I think that it's interesting. I mean, you've heard me talk about it a lot off air, and maybe I've said it on air, but for all of the criticisms that people in the South particularly have about the mismanagement of California's government at a state level, here's a reminder. They fund a shit ton of your programs, like your police departments, your Social Security payments, your welfare state benefits and
80%.
stuff. Yeah. And if,
80%, $80 million worth
oh, yeah.
above what they're supposed to pay.
Exactly. Like a state like Mississippi does not generate enough GDP to pay for all of their social programs. So they have to take it from a surplus. Again, I want to make that clear. It's a surplus, not a deficit that the California state budget runs. That's how much money they fucking make. And they had one of the quickest recoveries out of COVID. And that even takes into account how restrictive they really were to try to control the spread. So, I mean, if you want to look, they're going to say that Newsom was under some sort of authoritarian, draconian lockdown for COVID and caused everybody to leave the state. Well, look at the numbers.
They pulled out of it faster than anybody else.
Exactly.
And I will tell you, those same people who are criticizing, we were under a Republican regime in Tennessee,
Yes, we
super majority, and a Republican governor that we still have. And we were locked down as tight as California was.
Yeah.
And so no criticism from the Republicans. They were doing the same thing.
Yeah. They're going to talk out of both sides of their mouth. But I mean, I have somebody that works at a high position for TEMA. And when I was talking to him about the COVID response, he said, oh, yeah, everybody always freaked out about when New York City had to have those refrigeration trucks for the people who had passed away from COVID in the hospital. He said, we had those here in Tennessee. We just were told not to make a big deal about it because it would make us look bad because we opened up a lot quicker, especially for like Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge. Yep. God, do you remember how many fucking people used to come down for that? I mean, you saw license because Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge was like one of the only places that was wide open in comparison to the rest of the country.
Yeah.
And people from all over the Carolinas and Georgia and Kentucky, they all fled to Gatlinburg. Which is probably why I caught COVID 5 fucking times.
I don't know. It could be your lifestyle.
I don't know, man. I mean,
because I live here too, and I've only had it once.
Well, I'm telling you, it just got to the point where I was just like, oh, cool, I've got COVID again.
That's or maybe
awesome.
My Greek heritage just makes me more superior.
Me, my weak Filipino genetics.
You don't have Filipino genetics.
I know.
You have Loudon
Filipino
genetics. Where was your dad from?
He was from Loudon. Yeah.
What color was your dad?
He was white.
And can you say purple?
Purple. I can do it all. Jack of many trades. So if I have any ICE agents listening, I identify as a white guy. Please ignore me.
Regardless of how Latino he looks.
Yes, it's all a facade.
Just want you all to know that the Filipino genes was strong, but the Spaniard genes were even stronger.
Off the charts.
For those of you who don't know, the Spaniards invaded the Philippines and mated with the natives.
Oh, yeah. Over like 500 years, I believe, was how long they were colonized.
Yep. And so we have a mixture of Asian and Spanish commingling. That's a good word. Commingling. We're not sure that it was,
entirely
consensual.
No, in a lot of cases it wasn't.
But they did come out and have, a pretty people.
Oh, yeah.
At the end.
We're gorgeous. Oh, and
I said they.
Well, speaking of no kings, right?
Yeah.
I would be remiss if I didn't bring up, speaking of the Philippines, the fact that that piece of shit former president that the Philippines had for too many terms, Duterte, he's currently sitting at the Hague right now for war crimes and crimes against humanity for what he did to the Philippines.
Well, you know what's happening today, don't you?
What?
G7 in Canada.
Oh, good luck. As of this recording, Israel and Iran are bombing the shit out of each other right now.
Yeah.
Can't wait for me to get older so that way I don't qualify for the draft anymore.
The reason I brought up the G7 though, is that Trump went wearing a U.S. and a Canadian pin.
What?
Yeah, think about that.
Interesting.
They didn't. It wasn't like swag or anything. They didn't give it to him. He wore it. He come in wearing it.
Huh.
So he's there talking about Putin and how, they're not listening to him.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I remember when
first day
when they really picked up a particular bombing run on Ukraine. Our commander in chief, our strong man president, that's what everybody said. Oh, if we get a strong man in there, Putin's not going to do shit. And he gets on his social media app, Truth or whatever, and he's like, Putin, stop, in all caps. Shocker. That didn't stop a single missile from flying into a children's hospital in Ukraine.
Right.
I mean, it's just so stupid. And then what does he think he's going to do? He's going to like DM the government officials in Tehran and say, hey, can you guys stop? By the way, that dipshit is the reason why. If you remember, he blew up the Iran nuclear deal that Obama and Biden had worked so hard on. And then now they're like, well, they're so close to having a nuclear weapon. It's like, yeah, because you guys took off any of the monitoring for them. So stupid.
It is. Well, guys, we just wanted to come out today and put this into the record.
Mm-hmm.
We completely and totally are blown away by the No King protesters.
Yeah.
We appreciate each and every one of them that came out, and we think that it sent a clear and decisive message to the current administration.
And it definitely took a lot of bravery. There were a few protesters. One was shot in Minnesota over the weekend by some lunatic. They apprehended him. And then there were 2 instances in California where some fucking idiot drove their vehicle into protesters, injuring a few. I don't know if anybody had passed, but that was a real threat that everybody that went out to protest knew was a possibility. I still remember Heather Heyer's name, the lady in Charlottesville that got killed when some neo-Nazi rammed into them during a Black Lives Matter protest. So it may seem like it wasn't the biggest act of courageous bravery to stand out with a sign with something funny written on it, but the reality is, in this current political climate, everybody from a child to somebody in their 90s that went out and protested ran the risk of being injured or killed, and they still said, you know what, it's worth it. And I really, really appreciate that.
Yeah, let's end this on a little different note. We always talk about thoughts and prayers, and I really want everyone to keep the families of the victims of the Minnesota assassinations in their mind and in their thoughts. I think the suspected killer, Vance Bolden-Greer, is how you pronounce his name, I think. I watched Governor Tim Walz make the announcement, and you could tell how convicted he was about it and how heartbroken he was. I'll say it this way. This man went out of his way to kill Democrats.
Yes, he did.
He went to the home of Melissa Hortman and killed her and her husband.
And their dog.
And the dog. And then he went about 9 miles away from there and shot and wounded Senator John Hoffman and his wife Yvette. And just makes me sick that in today's world we can't express ourselves without fear of repercussions.
It's 100% Trump's fault.
Mm-hmm.
Referring to Democrats the entire time he was campaigning as the enemy from within.
Yeah. The shooter, the assassin, that's what we need to call him. The assassin.
The assassin.
And the attempted assassin was a registered Republican many, many years. He was part of the government.
Yeah, he was.
And I just think that it's a sad state of affairs, and it really breaks my heart that this happened. I'm trying not to get emotional over it, but I try to think about the families.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing we can do for the victims that have passed, but their families have to live with that. And they have to live with the fear that, you know, is there a hit out on all these people?
Exactly.
And so my prayers go out to the state of Minnesota and to the victims and to the families of those who we lost. And I think that's where we need to end this today.
I think so too, Ed.
So, well, Jacob, I'll see you in a couple weeks.
See you in a couple of weeks.
Now, family, you adults have a few chores to do. Go on over to ravensvale.com and see about doing your chores on social media. Follow us on all the social media platforms that we've made available just for you folks. Like, listen, subscribe, and follow wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you don't mind, leave us a good rating and a kind comment. You can find The Cauldron on your favorite podcast platform. And again, make sure you hit that follow button to stay up to date with our latest episodes.
The Cauldron is a production of Small Raven Media. Today's episode was hosted by Ed Bolden-Greer and Jacob A. Garner. Horrorscope with Madam V performed by Veronica Williams. Audio engineering and sound design by Nick Devan at Nicky D Sound. Copyrighted 2025, Small Raven Media. All rights reserved.